Don't miss in 26. Check out the highlights for New Comic Book Day April 15th, 2026. Absolute Batman debuts Scarecrow this week. Next level comics like Batwoman, Deathstroke, and Lobo hit issue number 2. Wonder Woman releases issue 32. Alias Red Band and Imperial Guardians have their second release. Magic and Colossus are on issue 3. Ultimate Wolverine concludes this week with issue 16. Darkness battles Angelus in a one-shot. From the pages of Lost Fantasy, Fireborn gets their own spin-off. Scorch from the Spawn universe celebrates the release of 50 issues. Star Trek Starfleet Academy gets a new comic book series titled Lost Contact. The end of the world activates this billionaire's doomsday plan and his secluded habitat. But is it really as safe as it sounds? And Mumru, the ever-living debuts. Get what you want, and more, at iwantmorecomics.com.
Well, looky there. It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday, and it's got, it's a unique anniversary for us being on the social medias. We kind of started that venture 9 years ago today.
The live flavors of our insanity. Sure.
Mm-hmm. And all of that 9 years of building has led us up to right now, right here with you, talking about the half-hour hype, which is also an iteration that has been going on for quite a while. This show's a little bit different, but we talk about the comic books that are now available on our website and in store tomorrow. You can follow along from our homepage at iwantmorecomics.com and clicking that button, New Releases This Week. Click that button and boom, you're right on the page of all the cool comic books that release tomorrow, but you don't have to wait. You can pick them up today. If you're a Portal member, you can add anything you see here right through that Portal system. This week is a very interesting week. One of the things I like about April is it's like the ending of a lot of story arcs, and they're all getting ready to like kick off new series right around May, which usually takes you all the way over to December, or I guess September, and then we kick off new stuff in November, December. So a lot of things here. There's not a ton of like hype number ones, but there are a lot of really cool ongoing issues that are continuing their really hyped up journey, and a few things that are ending this week, which is really neat. So we will talk about all of them. I have a few variants I also want to highlight, and just kind of guide you through a few things that might get lost in all the pages of all the new comics.
So much available, so much different pieces here, but this will be the spotlight to get you down the road with me and Richie. So this is, we're 2 weeks out to Free Comic Book Day, so there's a little bit of lead up into that.
A little bit.
So what you got on the list this week?
Let's talk about over at Dark Horse Comics. Resident Alien is a comic book that is independent at its heart, but also kicked off a really great show featuring Alan Tudyk, and it also added one more issue to complete the series, so the show itself can also do an ending. So what we're getting is a one-shot called One More for the Road, from the original creators and in lines to the USA Network television show. I think it's really cool. Nobody thought this was going to be so big that it needed this kind of thing, but it ended up being heartfelt and a very closer relationship to the fan base and the creative team. And I think this is a great way to end it as such. So if you've been looking for the ending of Resident Alien, you have a new one-shot to pick up before we close out.
Yeah, great story there to just turn around and have. If you're looking for the books themselves, we do have some of the trades in stock. So if you want to go back and read some of that. But I think the fandom's probably been on it for a while. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Next, over at IDW, another television show that is getting canceled is getting a continuation through the comic books. This happens a ton of times. Star Trek Starfleet Academy was announced that their final season is going to be coming up. And with that, everyone was kind of bummed out. But the good news is that characters and creative teams always live on in comic books. That's why you read comics, is so you can continue to read your favorite stuff. Star Trek Starfleet Academy is getting a new series called Lost Contact. So I think if you're interested, Star Trek already has a pretty big following right now in the comic book world. I really love the commitment and resurgence of the titles, and they've all been taken very seriously. But the best way to show Paramount that you want this stuff is to continually give them money and show it off. And the best way to do that is by buying these comic books and keeping that IP alive.
Here it is. Richie tells you reward the bad behavior. So
yeah.
no, but it's about your own enjoyment. It's about,
Yeah.
you know, continuing on the story that you want to read and going from there. Characters that you may have connected with can outlive what they do in the way of a show. And, you know, it's Star Trek. Star Trek is famous for being one of the first ones that was canceled and then brought back. So
Yep, that's exactly right.
for that.
And for those pro tip in collecting, if you can get a hold of the photo variant, which I think we still have some, I would pick that up first because those are the ones that typically hold value a little bit longer than any other version of the comic.
Star Trek actors are always people that seem to hit a lot of the convention circuit. So to turn around and be able to chase your favorite ones and get an autograph sometime in the future, this is a great little cheap item for you to turn around and have for a personal collection.
Over at Titan Comics, we are continuing our one-shot adventures with Lenore. Muffin Else Matters is our release this week, so make sure this is the third in the 4-issue one-shots. Self-contained stories, so you don't need to read one to get to the other, but they're all going to be just insanity and fun. Pick up your favorite copy.
Yep.
Dynamite is moving on to the big crossover of the Thunderhawks, or Thundercats and Silverhawks. Mumra, the Ever Living, is getting his #1 debut. I'm assuming, start all the madness and show us what the consequences are going to be. This also has a sneak preview of the Thunderhawks issue that we'll be leading into.
The same time, right next to it, you know, the blind bags take usually a little bit more time to hit. The Thundercats Silverhawks Road to War, which was the starting point for this big adventure. The blind bag is up this week. It is almost $20, but that is because you're getting 3 individual books inside the blind bag. So it could include virgin variants, colored blanks, more. So this is typically also not. We're going to have to make a big point out here with stuff with blind bags now, because people are recognizing if you're just getting the A cover in it a whole bunch of times, maybe you're not so interested, but this does have unique books inside of it that you can't get outside of this bag.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're looking for now when it comes to blind bags is what are my choices or chances of just getting an A cover, you know? And I think the companies are learning from that, so stay tuned.
Yep.
Jumping over to Bad Idea, we have 2 #1s. The first one is an original story called Hab, or For Habitat. This is by Joshua Dysart, and it is going to be a story about a billionaire that spent his whole life kind of creating a facility to continue life after, you know, madness happens to the real world. Kind of a giant shelter, a bomb shelter with societies within. Unfortunately, when things go awry, and we kick off this fancy new habitat, within it becomes kind of like a horror tour de force of like Cthulhu-like curses, and things get problematic from there, let's just say. Gonna be crazy, thrillery, do one thing and quickly turn into another kind of style storytelling. I think will be a fun adventure. #1 releases this week.
Yep, a couple different variants on that. But don't sleep on the A cover, because that is everybody's favorite zombie boy, Charlie Adler.
Yeah. Then we move over to Ordained 00, which is technically a number one, technically kind of a special, focusing on a character from the very hyped up Ordained series. This series has been optioned, still in the works on where it's going to land, but it is a very revenge style story and has a lot of assassins in it. And this is featuring the assassin known as the Machine. It's going to give you a little bit of prequel, a little bit of stuff. So if you read the first 2 issues, this is going to take you backwards and kind of give you a little more weight to the things you've already read. If you haven't read Ordained yet, this isn't a bad place to start because it will take you on the journey and kick you right into Ordained number 1.
This really reminds me of when Preacher was coming out and they did the Saint of Killers special.
Yes,
so it's
very, very, very in that vein.
Very similar in storytelling, using that mechanic for it. But it is there, and if you need copies of Ordained, we are stocked. Not only the first number 1 gets a 4th print, number 2 gets a 2nd, but we probably have some other stock on some other prints still here in the store too.
Then we'll move from there over to Image Comics, and we'll talk about another character that's getting kind of a focus. From the world of Lost Fantasy, Fireborn is getting a number 1, and this is a big bad from the world of Lost Fantasy, which is kind of like hyper fantasy storytelling through video games. And if you haven't picked it up, I think if you're a gamer, you're really going to like this series and might want to give it a chance. Fireborn, again, we're just kind of offshooting and focusing on one of the bigger characters with less stuff we know about them. Again, building that universe and giving us a little more weight to the panels within the main story.
So Lost Fantasy's variants typically revolve around video game covers, like the things that we see that. Fireborn has taken on the angle here to do homage covers to obviously some really well-known books out there, with the Absolute homage and the Invincible homage, alongside the Team Ups crossover cover that's available there, the cover theme for that there. So lots of options on this book. You can definitely choose the one that you like.
We are going to end the image segment by taking a look at those Team Up crossovers, because there's some really, really good ones this week. But I do want to move over to G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. The silent missions are continuing. This one has our baddie Zartan getting his silent issue and pushing through on a mission only he can complete. This is the, I think, 3rd for the monthly comic. We're going to get one every week of this 5-week month. So we are moving on to Zartan if you've been picking those up. And I wanted to quickly mention Ice Cream Man is getting issue number 45. And with that is also an announcement of a television show that is going to have Eli Roth at the helm, titled Ice Cream Man. I've been told they don't really say it's a comic adaptation, but if you watch the trailer, I think you'll catch some similarities.
Yeah.
But I would give it a shot if you've been a fan of Ice Cream Man. I think that this is only going to be good for the IP and your love for the character. So definitely jump in on that. From there, I think there are two. I'll get into that later. Let's look at the variant, the cover theme, the I Hate Team Ups, because there are great ones here, including the Ryan Otley.
The Otley for Battle Beast
is probably my favorite.
What's that?
I said that one might be my favorite.
It's not bad at all there. You definitely have the Narco one, has a great deal of violence to it.
Yes.
Fitting for that book. Like we said, Lost Fantasy's got 2 there. Fireborn's got 2. And then we can wrap this back to the other number 1 here in Image, and bring back up Darkness versus Angela.
Thank you. So Darkness versus Angelus is going to be basically a fight was too big for just one issue, and they needed their own special. So we're going to jump into that and kind of just go all out. Like, let this kind of offshoot, because typically in your continuity story, you want to tell a tale that's going to keep moving forward. Sometimes you just need a one shot to throw hands and make it look cool. And there's nobody that I know that makes things look cooler than the people around Darkness. So great variants, great selection of comic book. I know multiple people that picked up 2 during our ordering session because they know that this is just going to be sweet. So highly recommend it.
Yep, good stuff there.
From there, we're going to stay at Image, but we're going to move on to kind of a newer segment because we are done with our number ones, as I've said. So a lot of this is going to be continuity talking, but a lot of number 2s have dropped. And from the craziness that was last month with all these really cool titles, I don't want anyone to lose interest on their second issue. The first one being Narco, number 2, is releasing this week. A sleeper hit came out of nowhere, and that is a pun if you've read the book for Narco. But it's number 2 issue releases this week, as well as I think it had a second printing, but that might have been last week. So Narco is released this week. A couple cool variants.
The Hitchcock one is amazing. That was so nice.
The next one Keith will talk about, but we might have to be a little careful. Tigress number 2 is also released, which has somewhat of a naughty section.
You mean this naughty one down there?
Yeah, that one there, yeah. But Tigress as well, a quick hit. A lot of people jumped in on it on number 1. I want to make sure you don't miss out on number 2. Number 2 is when we start recognizing how many people are going to be on it, and then issue 3 is where that's where you're always like, why didn't I get issue number 3 of this issue? It's because you weren't paying attention of what we were ordering and putting on the rack. So stay vigilant, keep your story, enjoy their story. As long as you're liking it, make sure to grab it up.
Yeah. Plenty of good stuff there. And as you brought up, I'm not bringing it up, but there is a only for the adults cover down here that is bagged on the rack there. But feel free to check it out on your own.
We will come back to Image a little bit later, but I want to continue on this number 2 train. I want to go over to Vault Comics and talk about another sleeper. And that is Nectar. Nectar number 2 is releasing.
With second prints of 1, if you did not want to jump in, this is the time, again, everybody hyped up and got really big on when the first print dropped out and all this. Yes. They did a great job of bringing back the second print here, both the black bag, Suspiria Villages, and the main one. And now all of the people have jumped in on the hype train early. But now if you were just like, I wanted to check that out, I just wasn't willing to buy in on big price books, now's the time to grab.
Yes, this has an infectious story that has captured the minds of most people that read it. Everybody that did read Nectar came back, reported to me that it was excellent. They love the idea of just murderous butterflies. So you're getting all kind of the crazy style there. And also it's got a kind of adult lewdness to it. Really creating that adult feel of creepy, fun, and exciting. So
now I want to point out, when you have a book that goes really, really supernova here, and then you come into the number 2 and say, oh, it must not be that good because nobody, it's not priced up. It's not there.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the case. What it is we now are ahead of the curve as opposed to behind the demand. So this can stay at normal prices because stores, pay attention to what people buy and make sure that we're properly stocked going forward for this. So just because this isn't a $40 book anymore for the number 2 does not mean that everybody's left it and doesn't want to deal with it. No, it just means that we've been able to increase our supply of this and not have to be so restricted on what's available.
That's an incredible point, and it leans into the other concept that if you like having valuable comic books, you want to continue purchasing them for as long as they're making them, right? So even though Nectar 2 may be more available, make sure you pick up your copies and continue on with the story, because the longer it goes, the more valuable your comic remains in that light. So continuing on the number 2 train, over at DC Comics, all your next level comics are getting their issue number 2. So Scotty Young's Lobo is one of the bigger breakouts from last month. That thing sold out very, very fast. I can tell you that it was an excellent book, and you will not necessarily need to read that to read issue 2, which I will basically say is an excellent book again. Like, Scotty's going bonkers on this book, and I kind of knew he would. So it's not shocking to say that. The variants on it are very, very good. Lieber Mayhew's, I think, going to go through the whole run. So if you're a fan of his, I would suggest grabbing that up. Batwoman also hits number 2. I read the first issue. I'm very excited about where that story's going. And Deathstroke as well is hitting number 2. Deathstroke the Terminator for those. And that Tyler Kirkham variant just absolutely catches my eye every time I see it. So
it's a character that works really well for Tyler's style. So
he really does. I'm like, every time I think of Deathstroke, I think of Kirkham. So
yeah.
From there, we'll talk about a few. I don't have it here, but I definitely wanted to talk about it under Marvel. Ultimate Comics Wolverine is going to end. It's its last issue. Has some incredible book variants for it and kind of a celebration in that aspect. I would suggest grabbing that up. And if you are a big fan of the Ultimate Universe and are trying to pick up all things Ultimate, I would suggest to look at our cover theme for the Ultimate Farewell, where they're basically throughout all of Marvel, they're just kind of doing an ultimate homage or goodbye, if you will, to the series itself. It's not necessarily an ultimate comic, but the cover is a goodbye to the comic it would represent in the continuity, if that makes any sense at all.
Now I'm going to let you babble. It's okay.
Thank you. Then we'll jump back over to Image, because I want to talk about a milestone comic for Spawn. Scorched, following King Spawn, is getting their 50th. This was the 3rd iteration of the new expanded universe of Spawn, so hitting 50 is a big deal. With that comes an incredible selection of really cool covers. I didn't highlight it in the video, but the Scotty Young is always very, very popular. I did absolutely highlight this Puppeteer Lee because it's demanding over there on the rack, and you'll see it when you come in. You can't miss it. So a lot of really cool options, including the A cover with that sweet 50 banner. I really like that on the back end of it. But you really can't go wrong. If you want to pick up a milestone book, 50 is always a great one to pick up.
Really solid stuff there. I am going to talk about its neighbor real quickly here under the also style here, because this Super Creep Show, which everyone is going to recognize what book it is homaging, no problem at all. Even if you haven't heard of Batman, you've probably turned around and seen this kind of book.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be one that for people who just collect books that are homages, will definitely jump in on.
That will bring me to a couple of variants that I wanted to highlight as well. We can stay in Image Comics with Lost Fantasy number 9. That Kate Blanchett variant is a excellent homage, and one I've seen. I know Keith can back me up on this. Probably one of our bigger pre-orders that have gone through. I've pulled it 3 times today just to satiate some orders. So if you're interested, this is for those that maybe don't game as crazy, this is Final Fantasy character from I think Final Fantasy 18, somewhere.
I'm not
around
gonna
there.
help you because I'm a Chrono Trigger kid. So
yeah, but that is a well-known mechanic that dresses like that. So a really cool cover, and a lot of people are snapping it up. I don't think it's just because it's an homage. I think it's just a great cover.
It's funny because the Marvel versus Capcom also will turn around. That one there is pretty good. Or is that
very, very good?
Capcom, whatever one it is and all this, but that one there, and you know they just line up. It's also fun when they turn around and do this, and you have one of the old style long boxes for PlayStation. You know, like in how they use the art like that. So
I love it. One I missed on number 2, but we should talk about. Marvel has Alias number 2 drops this week as well. I love Alias. It's an anniversary, a 25th, I think, anniversary, which makes me feel really old, but I've really dug the first issue, and I'm all in for the second. That Joelle Jones cover is ridiculous. I mean, Mac is always Mac, but then, like, yeah, amazing.
Zero losers here. Just absolutely all deliver. It is the red band. It is bagged. It is for adults. So it is a well put together story and fits very well for the character.
Agreed. We're going to end at DC Comics. I wanted to show off one variant that I absolutely need to make sure everyone sees. Wonder Woman, number 32, has it's not an official, but we know it's an official April Fool's cover of Tom King and Daniel Sampere. You guys can guess which one, where Tom King drew versus Daniel. I know it's a little difficult to tell, but I think it's one of my favorite covers this week.
We call it a jam piece when two artists get together to showcase their talents.
Yeah.
But it might still be a jam piece if Sampere just lets Tom King tag along.
The writing on the cover it just kills me every time I read it. So enjoy it. I love the confusion. It's wonderful. Don't miss out on it. And then
it's tough because at the same time, you have Nakayama who's doing a character, and this one I'm getting a lot of orders for too.
I will say, when I say buy this, I mean in addition to the excellent covers that are already out.
Yeah,
this one's more for when you go see Tom King and Daniel together at any con. You'll want them both to sign it because you'll see Daniel just shake his head. I promise you. Then I had some I thought we'd just end it by talking about Absolute, where we normally start with Absolute. Absolute Batman number 19 releases with the big premiere of Absolute Scarecrow. I see Absolute potential Deathstroke there as well. And interesting little R is in the background of this cover. This comic's already getting crazy hype. Everybody's talking about it. I think we're all very interested to see what nastiness an Absolute Scarecrow can bring. I've already seen Snyder post cosplays of this character that has just been released. So it's crazy all around. Excellent variants that have become kind of standard with the Absolute Batman. The other one that has a appearance of the Scarecrow, if you're worried about that, is the one with the two knives. He's kind of in the reflection there, a la Hulk style.
And now, they have really good timing on this book too, because we'll be back Sunday night with our FOC, and Absolute Batman 20 will be on that one there. So the big deal is that there has been some hype that 20 has another big appearance in it.
It does, and they leaked the cover of it. So you will see a handoff at the end of this issue. And at the end of that issue, you'll know, if you looked at the leaks, you'll know what that I think Snyder actually went out and released it anyway. But you will know how cool that next issue is. You'll want to get on board on that. But like, water is also wet to say like you want to be on the next Absolute Batman.
I'm just saying, if you want to turn around and be completely in the know and ready to talk about 20 on pre-order on Sunday, get your book early, read it. And I mean, that's typically not hard to convince people to move Absolute Batman to the top of the stack so you don't get anything ruined. Side by side with that, by the way, again, we have a third print here with this Pirello that's going to have some popularity. Third print on the first Absolute Joker there. And then we are bringing back for a third print the Absolute Batman Annual, which has a couple different options there, including the Dragotta foil. I understand the DWJs are really great covers too, but this in foil does look nice.
Agreed. And that Batman Annual goes quick, even at third print. So look out.
People are still going to be digging for that one. They know that story and they want to make sure that they have a copy of that. So Options abound. Everything is available. It's all up on the website, ready to go now. Or you can turn around and see us here at the shop. But why worry if it sells out overnight, as I'm pulling the 30 orders that are going to come in between now and 11 o'clock. You can get yours in now, even for local pickup, and spend no additional money, but know safely that you grabbed what you were looking for. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Join us tomorrow night for the standardized stream sale, and back on Sunday for the final orders cutoff show. But two of us will be here. We're floating around in all this, and we're starting to see a little bit of traction here in the Discord. If you guys want to join and have some conversations about comics and things like that.
With that announcement, Discord tonight at 7 p.m., Matthew and I go at it again on Magic, but this time we are inviting other people. So if you want to play some Magic with us tonight at 7, I will be on Discord from about 7:30 on. A very sick Matthew will also be on at 7, taking questions and stuff until I get there and set up. So
nice.
Jump on if you have some time. I'd love to talk to you.
Thanks, guys. We will turn around and get you on another day.
See ya.
Don't miss in 26. Check out the highlights for New Comic Book Day, April 15th, 2026. Absolute Batman debuts Scarecrow this week. Next level comics like Batwoman, Deathstroke, and Lobo hit issue number 2. Wonder Woman releases issue 32. Alias Red Band and Imperial Guardians have their second release. Magic and Colossus are on issue 3. Ultimate Wolverine concludes this week with issue 16. Darkness battles Angelus in a one-shot. From the pages of Lost Fantasy, Fireborn gets their own spin-off. Scorch from the Spawn universe celebrates the release of 50 issues. Star Trek Starfleet Academy gets a new comic book series titled Lost Contact. The end of the world activates this billionaire's doomsday plan and his secluded habitat. But is it really as safe as it sounds? And Mumru, the ever-living debuts. Get what you want, and more, at iwantmorecomics.com.